Okay, everybody, good evening. This is a special night. Okay, this is special because a little bit over 3 years ago, the whole entire Whiskey Week in Chicago leading up to Binny's World of Whiskeys and Whiskey Fest was canceled. We were hoping that it was going to happen. It was coinciding with when the pandemic was starting. I was an empty nester for my first Whiskey Week, and I had something planned for every night that week. I had essentially told my assistant, don't expect me to come in for the whole week. Don't expect me to log on before noon. That was all going to happen. And then, boom, the pandemic killed it and took it all from us. I was despondent. And I knew I had to do something because many of you here have been going to whiskey tastings with me for years. We're all friends. We enjoy drinking together and hanging out together. And I knew that I needed a partner to help me with this. And I knew that I needed somebody who, one, loves whiskey, two, is good at technology because I suck at it, and three, is reliable. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, my first call to get this started was to Eric Leader. And I called up Eric and I gave him my idea. Let's start doing Zoom whiskey interviews, not tastings, just interviews. And Eric said, sure, let's do it. So that's why we're here. So everybody, the first round of applause is to Eric Leader for saying yes. Okay. Now, the next step was to decide how.
Also, Gil promised the pandemic was only going to last 3 weeks. So,
right, there was only going to be one session. It was only going to be that first session with Lou Bryson.
days to stop the spread.
Have we flattened the curve?
Let's do not go there. So, about how we then got started, I knew that I wanted our first person whom we were going to interview to be a big name in the whiskey world. Okay, somebody who had a name that was recognized, and I immediately approached Lou Bryson, and Lou said, yeah, sure, why not? Let's do it. So then we had Lou Bryson. He was our first person. And then our second person was Marty Duffy. And the reason why Marty Duffy was the second person is because Marty was one of my first friends in the whiskey industry. Okay, I met him at Binny's World of Whiskeys over 20 years ago. Okay, and Marty was instrumental in helping us line up several of our first interviews. He was very generous with his time, very generous with his contacts. So I approached Marty.
But he was second.
But he was
That's
second.
That's all I'm
True. Now, I want to point out one of the rules for tonight, okay? We could end up interrupting each other left and right, but I want to point out that since Lou and Marty are the special guests, okay, one rule is that they can interrupt anybody.
Excellent.
Okay. And I apologize to everybody.
I want to
already for
interrupt you
that.
now.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm interrupting you again.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so
Another
Marty
rule.
is special.
Too much power.
Another rule. Whenever anybody has something to say or for the first time, I want you to tell us what your theme is for your drams for tonight. Okay, if you have a theme or what you're drinking. My theme for tonight, distilleries that I have visited during the pandemic. Okay, and those distilleries for me are Balcones, Few, M&H, Milk and Honey in Tel Aviv, Dad's Hat, and Low Gap, Mendocino Spirits. So I have drams from those 5 different places. Okay, I also want to know right now what professionals and people we have interviewed are here right now. So I see that we have Jeff Schwartz. Jeff, say hello. Wonderful. Let's see. Oh, Herman Mihalik. Herman from Dad's Hat. Herman, I'm drinking something of yours. Okay, Dad's Hat is in the house. Great. Brian Dvorak from Impex. Awesome. Andrew Howell. Okay, Andrew from Thornton Distillery. Oh, this is awesome. And Ari Klofter. Okay, this is great. Who else do I do? I have Sam Filmus here. Did I see?
yeah, well, Sam's
He's on
here.
here somewhere. Yeah.
Oh,
there it
wow.
is.
Sam, awesome. Who else is here that I've missed? Anybody in particular? Great. All right, awesome. So Lou, tell me, what are you drinking tonight? I got on mute, Lou.
Old man. The theme of my consumption tonight is going to be shit that isn't packed up because we're kind of moving again.
What?
Yeah. No. we're just moving out while they're demolishing the back half of the house to finish the project.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
We won't have essentially won't have a door into the house. So we're gonna move in with my daughter for about 6 months.
Lou, your house
Oh.
is like that Winchester house. It'll never be finished.
No, this is it. This is the last thing.
Just
This is the
chasing
last
ghosts
thing.
away.
Hey, I live
Last
right
thing.
by that Winchester house.
It looks just
Winchester
like
Mystery
Lou's.
House.
So
As long
Lou,
as we
what is
keep
not
building,
packed
you'll
up
never
yet?
be
What are you
done.
drinking?
I am drinking Shelter Point from British Columbia.
Oh, tell us about it.
Yeah. Well, for one thing, I'm going to bitch a little because it's got one of these impossible to get off glass stoppers, which is almost a bigger pain in the ass than wax.
Yes, I agree. I hate those things.
So it's if you don't, it's on Vancouver Island. They claim coastal character. It is a single malt. I mean, I like this stuff. I think it was Canadian Whiskey of the Year one year. But you know, it does have coastal character. There's definitely brine there, but there's a lot of really nice sweet malt. It's not an old whiskey. It doesn't have an age statement. I like it. I like it a
Awesome.
lot.
That's great. What about you, Marty?
I love these little, I've been parceling them out. Lou and Liz and I had, when we were doing our show, we had Henrik Molen from the Isle of Ven whiskey.
Oh yeah, I just
So
came
he-
across them.
Yeah, so he sent us these tiny little beaker bottles. And
Isle
it's
of
really good.
Ven? Where is that?
Isle of Ven, though it's spelled H-V-E-N. It's an island between Denmark and Sweden.
It's actually much closer to Denmark, but it's part of Sweden.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
invited me to come. I ran into him at ADI convention in September.
And
He was
who
there.
had somebody had his observatory there? Was it Kepler?
Oh, really?
Oh no, Tycho Brahe. The guy
Oh,
with the
right.
fake
And that's
nose.
so this is called
Yeah.
Tico Star.
Oh, wait,
There
do you
it
know
is.
what
It's a
Tycho
symbol.
Brahe died of?
What did he die of?
Syphilis?
What did he die of?
Syphilis or dysentery?
A
A
falling
burst,
star.
a burst bladder.
Oh!
The guy
Wow,
was like
Peter
at
the
a
Great.
party and just refused to pee and died of a burst
Oh,
bladder.
that guy. Yeah, I've heard about him. Yeah, well, it was considered ill manners to get up, so he was quite the gentleman.
I'm pretty sure that's how he lost his nose, was syphilis. So
Oh my God. The guy
Yeah.
has some.
What
pretty
did
bad
I
habits.
join? What did I just join? Good God, people.
He had every
we
disease you could
discussed-
think of.
we discussed the three most important astronomers in history. So
Oh,
Hey,
who
wait.
would those be?
No, back to Marty. Marty, so tell us about that whiskey. How do you like it?
Oh, it's really good. I mean, when he came on, he's quite the character. Henrik is into steampunk, so a lot of photos you'll see him. He's all dressed up in steampunk.
Mhm.
And the distillery, he walked us through it.
that was one of the best shows.
Yeah, because he's a really interesting man. When I met him in person, even he says he'd make a great Bond villain. His distillery is underground, and he has a hotel above ground. And the
Nice.
distillery is not like some little hovel. It
No.
is a Bond villain's lair.
And
It's really
what do
quite
they have?
nice.
Like 40 stills?
Yeah,
It's
I guess-
insane.
I don't know where he gets his money, but
They've got vacuum stills, they've got wooden stills.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just crazy. And then he's got his he's doing it with his phone, right, Marty? Wasn't he?
well,
I think
what
he
do you mean?
was. I think he was
Oh,
doing
yeah,
a
when he
video
was-
with his phone. Had it on a selfie stick. He goes walking out of the distillery, turns the damn phone around, and is like, "And here's our cornfield."
Yeah,
I was right there.
I don't know if he owns the island, but he damn near close. owns it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's generational money. So I want to tell people how we're going to get everybody to participate tonight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the people who are here. First, go to the people whom we've interviewed, okay, over the years, and then we're going to go to the people, who are participants in our group. But I want to definitely acknowledge the people we've interviewed and for them taking their time and helping us out throughout the years and for joining us tonight. And the first person I see on my list here, I'm just going through my screen, and actually, let's go to Jeff Schwartz.
Hey, that's me.
Hey, Jeff, what are you drinking tonight?
Well, I am drinking a Starward Private Barrel single malt. And this was bottled in 2019 in Barossa red wine casks. And the reason that I chose this was because you had sent out an email asking if anybody was going to drink Starward.
Oh, very nice. Very
So
nice.
it just said, yeah, that works.
Well, I want to congratulate you for something. A lot of people might not know this, but Jeff, didn't you just post on Facebook that you did your 700th whiskey review this week?
That was yesterday, yes.
That was yesterday. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. So tell us about it. What was the whiskey for the 700th?
It was 3 whiskeys out of Found North,
nice.
which is they're based in the United States, but they source Canadian whiskeys. They're a lot like Barrel Craft Spirits. They create batches, and then they take what wins and create additional things out of those winning batches. It was
And
my
I
first
saw that
time
you
coming
liked it.
across them, and I loved it.
Yeah, I saw that you
I-
really gave them positive reviews.
I met them down at Herman's place. Well, I met one of them, Nick. I met Nick down at Herman's place like, wow, I don't know, 9 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was well before he had this idea. He was just a really excited whiskey retailer at that time.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's pretty cool.
Well, I
Seven-
think
so-
they
so-
did a great job. I am not a huge fan of Canadian, and what they have is just stupendous.
Actually,
That's awesome.
Jeff, you owe it to yourself before you claim not to be a fan of Canadian. Go to that Victoria Whiskey Festival, because it turned my head around
Here.
about Canadian whiskey. It really is. It's amazing
know,
stuff up there.
Schmier turned me around on it with his Good Day. That was the first Canadian whiskey that I liked, and I've come across a few more and starting to really open my mind about it. But that's a good idea.
Now that's don't believe Schmier. That's just more MGP.
I'll
You
tell
just
you what,
slap different names on stuff. It's all the
It
same
really
thing.
turned my head around on Polish whiskey. I thought
Yeah.
every Polish whiskey sucked, but wow.
But he also has a great name,
That
Schmier.
robe is
Schmier is a
awesome.
great
Yeah.
name.
Right. He's got to marry a girl named Bagel.
Yeah, I mean, Schmier is just a
Well,
great name.
A lot of people don't know, but Dave and the Van
No.
Winkle are doing
sorry.
they're doing a little deal
Here it
together,
comes.
and it's
Who
gonna
are,
be-
sorry, Marty, can you say that again, please, Marty?
Dave is going to be working with the Van Winkle family to create a special whiskey, and it's going to be called Pap Schmier.
Oh.
Look for that. Look for
Oh.
that in your stores
Wow.
pretty soon.
That's
Oh.
rough.
Ladies and
That's
gentlemen,
rough.
I give you Marty Duffy. Okay.
I'm coming recorded. God damn
Thank
it.
you. He'll be here all week. Try the beer.
Oh, that was beautiful. That was just beautiful, Marty. That was just great. And we are now going to go to one of the other people whom we have interviewed over the years. We're going to go to Sam Filmus. And Sam, if you could please unmute. Sam, you're in your house, aren't you?
Does it look familiar to you?
It looks very familiar to me. I love that room. Okay. That is one of the best rooms in the world. I had such a great afternoon and evening with you that day with my friend Eric when I visited last summer. How are you doing, Sam?
Pretty well. I'm still looking for a few more whiskeys or bottles that disappeared from here, but I don't know if it's you or Eric. I have to check my cameras.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. A lot of familiar faces here. My theme today is independent bottlers. I'm going to start with a glass that Marty helped us make available.
Very nice.
Then I will Single Cask Nation Glenbergie, 20 years old. And this is the guy, very humble guy from your Chicago gang that kind of loves it. So I thought I would dedicate it to you and
Thank
toast
you.
to
Michael Nolan is clapping. Michael Nolan was just clapping. Glenbergie is one of Michael's favorite distilleries. And as soon as you said that, he just got this huge smile and started clapping.
We'll have Michael, and we know his passion to Glenbergie. So then another one would be Elements of Isla, another independent bottler. His face is Bonahaven, heavily peated. And I'm going to finish today with Adelphi Springbank 21.
Oh,
That's
I-
good.
I'm
I
sorry if I
tasted
made
that at
some-
your place. I tasted that
wait.
with you. That was
Wait.
great stuff.
Sam,
Thank you. Hey, Naomi,
Sam,
how you
can you
enjoying?
save me some of that Springbank, please?
You
Oh,
not-
I
you
thought
not-
you were gonna ask for the
I'm
Bunnahabhain.
taking my right now.
I know, when you walked into the whiskey shop, when you moved here with David, Springbank was like every word that you were saying was Springbank, Springbank, Springbank. So
I love
I
Springbank.
wanna-
I freaking love
I
Springbank.
want to cheese you a little bit on this. How are you enjoying the Bay Area, Naomi?
It's paradise, paradise. I'm just texting with Yadida, in fact, telling her it's paradise.
Don't tell those Chicagoans about it. That's not what it
See
is.
that window out there? That window sees deer, coyote, wild turkeys, just the parking lot. There's just like a forest out there. It's amazing.
Wow, that's
I keep
nice.
hiking boots in my car because I can literally like walk outside and go hiking.
You see, I was glad when you guys finally got together, when you finally met, because ever since you guys moved out there, I was waiting for you and David to have an opportunity to meet Sam. And I'm just thrilled that you guys finally made that connection.
Yeah, I'm doing a whiskey tasting this weekend. It was supposed to be then, but then I got COVID and had to cancel. So it's rescheduled for this Sunday. And I just was like filling in, like, it's basically a Bunnahabhain focused, but it's like I'm doing like Aaron, Jura, Spoon, and a Hazelburn,
Mhm.
unpeated kind of Isla adjacent things. And then two really good Bunnahabhains, like a baseline 12, and then one of their special coterie releases. Like, and then if they want optionally to see other regional things, there's a Lafroigan and Ardbeg like standard
Of course.
too.
I love it. And by the way, I want to remind everybody, for those of you who came on late, one of the rules for tonight is that since Marty and Lou are our special guests for the night, being our first two interviewees, they're allowed to interrupt anybody. I'm just letting you all know.
Yay.
Okay. Yeah. They're allowed to interrupt anybody.
And the other rule is we're allowed to mute Marty and Lou.
Oh.
All right. At your own peril.
So I want to recognize next on my list here, Herman Mihalik. Herman, Dad's hat. Okay, I love this Dad's hat. So this was great. This Dad's hat was a special release, only available at the distillery. Herman sent us a bottle for us to sample. We loved it, and a bunch of us wanted to order it, but he couldn't ship it to Illinois. So I ordered it, and I had him ship it to my mother in the Philadelphia burbs. And I told my mother, who was almost 80, that she'd be getting a box of whiskey. And then 3 weeks later, she called me up and she said, "Did you send me a box of whiskey?" And then, and then, so she went to the UPS store to pick it up, and they said she would have to carry it out herself. And she said, "I'm almost 80." So then they carried it out for her. And then when she got it to her garage, and to get it out of her car, instead of calling my brother-in-law, who lives 5 blocks away, Herman, she actually opened up the box and unpacked it and took the bottles into her house one by one.
Well, it's better than dropping it, that's for sure.
It worked. We got it. It's great stuff. And of course, last time I was in Philadelphia, I visited the distillery with my friends Eric and Eric. How are you doing, Herman?
Very well, thank you. I appreciate the invitation. It was kind of a saw that pop into my inbox, and I said, "Boy, I should definitely stop in and say hi. You guys are always been great contacts, and and I'm glad you remembered me. That's great."
Well, thank you. And so I have a question for you. When we were in your distillery, there was a container there that I think it said Boutique Whiskey Company on it, if I remember correctly. Did I remember seeing that in your distillery?
You did remember seeing that, yeah.
And has that been? I don't think that's been released yet, has it?
It's going to be released on May 15.
Ooh, okay.
You're getting
I'll hear that
a
here first.
you're getting an avant premiere on Dion Francais. So it's
Oh wow! Can you tell us about that bottle?
Worldwide or just in the UK?
just in the UK, as far as I know. Apparently, there's a DHL package on its way with one of the bottles. I'm only getting one bottle apparently, but yeah, again, I'm not supposed to talk about it, so don't say anything.
Okay,
Sounds like we need to
fine.
do a remote from the UK,
Yeah, it's
Well, I have a
As-
client in the UK. Maybe he can buy some and ship it back here.
I work for a company in the UK.
It's going to be available from
Ah.
Masters of Malt for sure.
Okay.
And it's going to be, like I said, they're going to talk about it on the 15th of May. And it's as usual with Boutique Whiskey Company. They're having a bit of fun with the label and so forth. So again, I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but it should be pretty fun.
Oh yeah, their labels are awesome. Yeah. And by the way, this rye that I'm drinking of yours, I mean, it's like, it's 126 proof or 127 proof, and it doesn't need water, man.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying that.
It is just
Love it.
great stuff.
So-
It is great stuff.
Can I share my theme for tonight?
Please.
Okay, I'm going my favorite bottles, at least in my current inventory, by category. So, needless to say, for the rye, it's Dad's Hat rye. So that's
Okay.
It's a 2021 Bottle and Bond. That's a release that was distilled in 2015. That's what I'm drinking right now.
Okay.
I have another category that this was gifted to me a couple years ago, and I have to keep my son away from it because he's draining it. But it's the Suntory pure malt, 12-year-old pure malt.
It's like your whiskey didn't sign an NDA.
Yeah.
It's all
I can't get the right photo. There you go. There's
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the Suntory 12-year-old pure malt. Pretty good stuff.
Beautiful.
And going in a slightly different direction in terms of price, but my home go-to for bourbon is Old Granddad Bottle and Bond.
Ooh.
Boy.
Boys,
Old school.
beautiful
Absolutely.
everyday drinker.
That's a great bottle. With $28, you can't beat it.
That's awesome.
114, I assume.
By the way, Sam, take a look. I'm sorry. Herman,
look
take a
at-
look what shirt I'm wearing.
Beautiful. Live and let die. Good
Okay.
job.
I bought this at your distillery. And by the way,
Thanks so
last
much.
week I had a cold and I was drinking your Rock and Rye.
Oh,
Okay, which is just
hey, it actually has an ingredient in there. The
Whorehound. I remember Whorehound.
right, Whorehound actually has medicinal properties. So you picked the right thing. So
Well, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. So let's see. I'm going through the list here. See the professionals who are on here right now. So I am going to ask Andrew Howell and Ari Klofter to unmute from Thornton.
And there. Andy, you go first.
Hey, buddies, how you doing? Andy, you there?
Unmute. Okay. Yeah, I had to figure out how to unmute. Sorry about that.
How you guys doing?
All right.
Good. Thanks for having us.
Hey, thank you. How's life? What are you guys drinking tonight?
Well, I guess I'll go first then. So I guess my theme would be tornadoes. Right now there's a tornado warning down here in Thornton. We just sent the staff home at the bar and restaurant. So now I'm hanging out in a bunker. I had a bottle of JTS Brown in my trunk from Ari and I's recent trip to Kentucky. President Clapper, Ari's head of the Illinois Craft Distilling Association now. He set up a trip to Kentucky to visit the Kentucky
I
Guild.
saw that. yeah.
It's a pretty awesome trip. Connor at Heaven Hill gave us a private tasting and tour and stuff. And so it's really good. I actually haven't had JTS Brown before and it's fantastic. So
Oh, that's wonderful. That's
I love
great.
this old granddad JTS Brown. The bottom shelf hits keep coming, baby.
Respect the
no, it's
bottom
funny.
shelf. Hashtag.
Lou, I don't know
What's
if you
that?
remember this in our first
Hashtag
interview.
respect the bottom shelf.
Yes, respect the bottom shelf, definitely. And Lou,
Absolutely.
I don't know if you remember this in our in the first interview and the one that we did with you, one of the people who joined in was relatively new to whiskey, and he asked, "Where do you start?" And you said Wild Turkey 101. Okay,
Just
and
had
I
some of
remember
the
that.
tasting with students today.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I
respect the
was
bottom
guest
shelf.
lecturing at a college and entrepreneurship thing, and they're like, "Well, what whiskeys should we try?" And I'm like, get a rye, get a blended Scotch, and get Turkey 101.
Right. And every time I'm on a plane, if I have the opportunity to buy one of the whiskeys on the plane, if they have Wild Turkey 101, I always buy it because of what you said that session.
That's definitely the first whiskey I remember drinking. I won't tell you how old I was. All I can say is that's what the old men will drink.
So Ari, what are you drinking?
I'm actually just drinking a cask sample I pulled earlier this week of our Illinois peated single malt, just kind of seeing how it's coming. So this is about 3 years in an ex-Buffalo Trace barrel. And yeah, just enjoying it and loving the progress.
Well, when is that hitting the shelves?
When I really, really love the process. What I say, I'm gonna keep holding on. But I think it's on the horizon. We're
Ari,
getting-
how hard was it for you to get a Buffalo Trace barrel?
It actually wasn't that difficult. It was, a couple of years ago, worked with I remember, I think it was a broker that the folks at Willett had put me in touch with, and I got some Buffalo Trace barrels and some Heaven Hill barrels at the same time to kind of compare, which is nice. I think Buffalo Trace for that batch is edging the Heaven Hill out just a little bit, at least for the single malt. But yeah, it was nice.
Well,
Oh,
sweet.
that's wonderful. That's great. That's cool. I'm looking forward to it. I know that you did a project with Daniel Pikus, right?
Yeah, that's some of our bourbon.
Yeah. So what was that project again? Daniel, you did that for a fundraiser, right?
Yeah, I did it for a fundraiser. There we go. It's hard to see the trying to get.
Yeah, you got the.
Yeah.
We did a custom label. You guys were big help on. I bought 3 cases, and you guys did stuff for me. And thank you to everybody who bought it and helped me raise money for High Lifeline. It was a good deal.
That's all. Did you sell out finally?
I still have a few. If
Okay.
anybody's interested. Otherwise, I'll save them for gifts for people.
Okay, sounds cool. That's awesome. All right, so let's see. I'm looking through the list here. Are the other people? Oh, by the way, I want to say other thing about Ari and also Lou. So my daughter had her 21st birthday last September, and she's in Israel, as many of you know, and she came to the States over winter break, and it was Marty's 60th birthday. And Marty was having a party at Chief O'Neill's. And I brought my daughter there, and Ari was there, and a few people from Keeper's Heart were there also, and a few people from Sampson and Surrey. And she met Ari, and you guys had a nice chat. I remember Ari was really funny. When I told her you were a distiller, do you remember what she said to you?
No.
She asked how old you are. And I looked at her and I was like, really?
Ari is the Doogie Howser of distillers.
Yeah. Well, I still make fun of him for calling me sir the first time we met, but that's okay.
It wasn't sir. I called you Mr. Matar.
I'm sorry, Mr. Matar. Right, it was Mr. Matar. I stand corrected. That's even worse. That's even worse. So I'm looking here. Other people who have joined us.
We got
Oh,
Brian.
Monique.
Monique
Monique
up on you.
Houston. Monique, can you please unmute? Let's see. Is that Monique there on the iPhone 5? I can't tell. It looks like Monique. Yeah, maybe it's not Monique. Okay.
Hey, you could be inviting Riff Raff into this.
That's okay. It's somebody else. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's
We
fine.
got Brian.
What's that?
We have Brian DeVort.
And how about Michael Bloom? We interviewed Michael Bloom. Michael Bloom, remember 50 State Blend. Michael, you're in an airport right now, right?
He's on the other side of the world.
Where are you, Michael? Michael, did we just lose him?
That was
He-
quick.
he's
you
in
hear me?
Georgia. He's in Georgia.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So yes, I'm in Georgia. I'm at the Tbilisi airport. I am heading home, but I couldn't miss this to thank the Enthusiastic Whiskey Hobbyist group, as well as so many of you who were the guests of Gil and Eric for giving me my start in actually being in the whiskey business itself. So thank you. It's been a great ride, and it's been awesome from the very first time that a subgroup of this actually tasted my stuff live. I can't tell you how much of a thrill that was for me, and the fact that just like Gil knows that Eric Leader is the guy to go to when you want to support an idea and have the most trustworthy and capable guy by your side. the fact that Eric and I have both kind of moved into working with Dave Sweet and running whiskey and barrel night shows with him is an awesome kind of like corollary to the work that we've done, or to the fun we've had with whiskey and barrel night, with whiskey enthusiasts. So thank you.
I got to tell you, I was thinking about, you and Eric might be the two people whose lives have been changed the most by this group. I'm thinking about that.
Possibly.
Yeah. I mean, Eric, you've become how busy?
I stopped sleeping.
Well, the funny
I
thing,
just drink whiskey.
Good thing you have a course in your veins.
Right.
Yeah.
So Marty and Lou, one thing you don't know is that at one point when Dave Sweet was talking with Eric and Michael, Dave kept calling it, Gil's group, and the Gil does everything. And then, Eric and somebody had to say, you do know that I'm pretty much running the show. And next thing you
Before
know,
doing this, I was not expecting that I was going to be a CMO, CTO, COO.
I'm good at delegating. I'm really good at delegating, But no, it's been wonderful. So Michael, have you been tasting any whiskeys over there over in Europe? Any good whiskeys?
I did try something called Jim Sure, which.
Oh, he locked up.
He's leaving us in suspense.
But no, it's been more, not that blended whiskeys are bad, right? But no, this was a immature one. So I will say that the grappas, otherwise known as cha-cha, here are much better than the whiskeys. And I will also say that Ararat brandy in Armenia, where I was last week, was fantastic. Talk about a sleeper, at least in terms of my knowledge of brandy. The French even let some of the Armenian brandy be called cognac because they think it's good enough.
Oh, wow.
So that was pretty awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, if anyone's ever been to Eastern Europe, Budapest or Prague, almost every restaurant you go to, they make their own palinka, their own fruit brandies. Very strong, but delicious. I mean, you can't drink loads. Well, I guess you could drink loads of it, but don't expect to walk straight afterwards.
Wonderful. That's great. Cool. So I'm going to go to the next person on the list here. I see Nick Nagley. Nick, how you doing, buddy?
Chasing the dream.
Whiskey Acres.
Whiskey Acres.
Oh, I love that
Buddy.
shirt.
You want to know how good I have it? Is I just dropped my kids off at the in-laws and don't have to get them till tomorrow.
Oh.
And my wife is out with girlfriends, so who the hell knows what I'm going to get myself into this evening.
Sounds like a reason to open the popcorn whiskey.
What an idea.
That's great. So I was just going to ask you what you're drinking, and there you go.
You got it. I'm drinking out of a Martin Duffy Glencairn Crystal just to, represent. I don't know if Duffy's. Oh, there he is. There he is.
Oh yeah, Duffy's here. Duffy's allowed to interrupt you, by the way. Duffy and Bryson are allowed to interrupt.
Okay. Those are the
Power, such power in one man's hand. Well,
So
two.
I'm really. It's unfortunate that two of your biggest fans, Lynn and Ralph Schatz, are not here right now. Nick.
Well, I've learned with Lynn and Ralph that if I want it to rain or snow, I just need to invite them to Whiskey Acres.
Oh.
It will so that's not a personal, but the way they have timed things, that they have been out to us in just some of the worst weather ever, and kudos to them for trudging and enjoying everything we have to offer when it's not the best, and they are fantastic.
Yeah, they love coming out to your place.
I need to get. He always brings his camera,
right?
And so I have no idea what kind of shit he's caught, but I'd like to go through the photo roll.
Phrasing.
By the way, that's a great shirt. Is that a Whiskey Acre shirt, or did you get it somewhere else?
That's the Whiskey Acre shirt.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
Is that available online or just at the distillery?
It's at the distillery. can be muled to Chicago under certain circumstances. So
Well, I can also talk to Ralph and
excellent.
Lynn and find out the next time they're going there, or I can head
Yeah.
out there myself.
That hour-long trek from
Well-
DeKalb to Chicago.
yeah, that really long trek. Hey, so if I'll give you a reason to come on July 7th, we're releasing a 7-year bourbon. You know, I think we've like crossed the threshold of like no excuse craft whiskey, all grown by us, distilled by us, aged in large barrels, 7 years, 107 proof, July 7th, MSRP of 77.77, beating the sevens.
Wow.
So,
Might have to come down for that.
Are you gonna give what's your combine? The combine rides? Oh no, it won't be harvest time, will it?
if you come like 2 weeks later, we'll be harvesting wheat or rye. So, but July 7th, if we're combine, we're in big trouble. If something's going wrong then.
Jamie and I, my niece Jamie and I got to do the combine and harvest
Yeah,
corn.
the other thing I'd say is if I don't know if there's any distilleries owner out there, but if you guys want to have the slowest day on record, invite Martin Duffy out. He came out on like year 1 or 2, and it was one of those like October days where I think it rained like 3 inches, and I think there was like one customer, and it may have been him. You know, we got this great place. People are coming here
If
all the
I
time.
didn't come out, you would have had 0.
I think that was the case. That was the case.
Wow. Somebody's asking a question here. Is it a full, would you consider it to be a full estate bourbon?
Yeah. Whatever
Awesome.
fortunately, unfortunately, there's not I will call a full rule book written for that, but we grew it, we distilled it, we aged it, and we're going to bottle it on site. So what more do you want from us?
Oh, that's awesome. That's just great. No, I love it. I recently featured your Bottled and Bond, I think it was the 5-year. I had a tasting for a local chamber of commerce. I was doing Illinois bourbons. And people loved your stuff. Thought it was great. So that's awesome.
That's
great.
That's what's, we've got that. We've got a Bloody Butcher release the Friday before Halloween. We got a popcorn release, so the first Friday in December. A couple random. We're actually releasing a cask finish series. So we've got something, a bourbon aged in Tokai barrels that's going to come out in the next month or 2.
Ooh, Paul Barron just got happy.
We're doing
that's
something with Linford Winery, here locally. But really going to kind of, we're not going to go crazy, but we're going to find a handful of things to do kind of consistently to have a few fun releases annually.
It's okay to go crazy a bit. It's okay.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with going crazy.
We go crazy enough with the grain. We need to have like a.
So somebody else just joined us here. This is great. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce and say hello to the director of the Water of Life films, Greg Schwartz. Greg, how you doing, buddy?
Hi, good to see
How
you
are
again,
ya?
Gil, and everybody. I'm great. I'm very, very jet lagged, but I'm great. So happy to join them.
What are you drinking tonight?
Well, I'm drinking a beer, and I'm about to pour the Laddie 8 that I bought at the duty free in the Munich airport. But I haven't even opened it yet.
Very, very nice. Hey, have you had a chance to try yet the single cast, what was it? The Water of Life version 2?
Take
the
two.
Undisclosed
Take
Island
two.
number 2?
Have I? Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I haven't had it yet. Tell me about it. I've seen it on show, I just haven't picked it up yet.
It's very much the same whiskey as Take One, different batch of it. It's six cask vatting, 5 unpeated, 1 peated. We did a little, one of our producers, Nate, and I did a little side by side with the two of them, and they're different, but only batch difference. They're clearly made to be the same thing, and they are very much, and I find them to be dangerously drinkable.
Yes.
Considering they're 48%. But it has like this really nice, it's just this sort of ribbon of peat kind of going through it because it's only one of the 6 casks. And I should have probably gotten that instead of this, but I haven't opened this yet. And I just bought it 2 days ago. So
it's okay.
It's down. It's down the hall.
We'll
That's
wait.
awesome. So what's your next movie project? Anything you can tell us?
Well, the reason I just flew back from Germany, where we started principal photography on a film about the history of Bavarian beer, and we're already done shooting it. We're now editing the film on independent bottling, and then I think following that will be bourbon and Irish whiskey. I'm not sure in which order, but I was in Ireland a few months ago, kind of laying the groundwork for that, and I was in Kentucky. But it's not going to just be about Kentucky. It's going to be about American whiskey. I promise that, because I don't want to limit myself.
Well, I mean, we're a big country. We got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's great. No, because I know that you said you might not be able to come on tonight because of your travels, and thrilled that you're able to join us here. So are you with your family now? Did you just get home? Is that what it is?
We just ate an early dinner because my kids have track practice tonight, and my wife took them to track practice. So I just get to sit around and drink with you guys now. So
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome. That's great. So
it's only 5:45 here
oh, that's great. Yeah, so where are you right now?
in Los Angeles.
Okay. Oh, so it's early. So you got several hours of drinking ahead of you.
Well, but but in my internal clock, in my old brain, it's like 3 a.m. So I'll probably crash out, but she'll come home and I'll be asleep.
Got it. So we have another whiskey
Cheers,
professional
everyone.
who's joined on here. Somebody whom I have not. Whom we have
No,
not
I'm listening to. Joe's
Um,
got some Zoom thing going that I'm half listening to.
Somebody's talking. Okay. Anyway, I want to recognize somebody whom we have not interviewed, Liz Rhodes, whom from the picture and the way my computer's showing, I thought for a second it might be Monique Houston, but it's Liz Rhodes. Liz, could you unmute, please?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So Liz, many people here don't know you, but we've seen you on Facebook and stuff and seen you on some of the videos with Marty and with Lou and stuff like that. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Hey everyone, I'm Liz Rhodes. I used to be on this like little show. I don't know if you've heard of it, called A Sip of Knowledge, with these two jokers, Marty and Lou Bryson.
Yes, you Liz.
So we had a good little run there, but I am now head of whiskey development at Whistle Pig Whiskey.
Oh, nice.
That's a little bit about me. I'm on the road quite a bit, so I know many of you are on the road right now, and I'm in Austin right now, and was supposed to be at Texas Whiskey Fest, which is on Saturday, but I double booked myself. And so instead I'm heading to Chicago to speak at Rumfest.
That's great. So I what percentage of the time are you on the road now?
It's about 75%.
Wow.
Wow.
That's right.
I just wanted to say hi to some familiar faces. I'm out eating right now, but I'm not drinking whiskey at the moment, but have been hanging out with some cool distillers. And as I mentioned in the chat, I was over at Fierce Whiskers here in Austin yesterday, hanging out at their new distillery and trying their rye and their bourbon, and which is pre-launch. So they'll come onto market in June. So one of the first people to try it. So woohoo.
That's were you able to taste it like from the cask?
Yeah, straight from the cask. And I will say it was really smooth. It had great notes of vanillin, fig, and a little bit of mint.
Awesome. That's great. You know, maybe we should talk later about doing a Whistle Pig tasting with this group.
Yeah, would be honored and love to. I'm going to jump off now because I don't want to be rude to my dinner guests. But I just want to show
your
my
dinner
face.
guests.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, Liz, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Great to see you, Liz.
Bye, little lizard.
Ah.
I just saw Liz this past weekend. We were down in Kentucky in Lexington for Tom Bullitt's 80th /
Oh, nice.
retirement party.
Very, very
and
nice.
loads of old former Diageo folks.
Oh, that's
gathered
great.
there. So it's kind of cool.
Your old crew.
Most of them have been, hunted down and killed. Unfortunately. And the few remaining.
So we have another professional on here, somebody whom we did not actually interview, but who has participated in a number of our calls, especially early on. Brian Dvorak. Brian, how you doing? If you can please unmute. So Brian, you're in the Southwest United States, right?
Yep, I handle Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada. I also handle Alaska, and I also handle Michigan.
Wow. And you're with Impex, right?
I'm with Sam.
You're with Sam. So Brian, I don't know if you remember this. One of my funniest little stories about this group, when we were interviewing Allison Park from Bren. Okay, you were on that.
Yep.
And you and she started geeking out, and you started asking her some really detailed questions about the stills and when she when she makes her cuts. And she finally said, all right, I'm done. She didn't want to tell any more of her details because she felt that it was getting to the point of professional secrets. But you were like a reporter, man. That was great.
Anytime that I'm included on our company's discussions with our suppliers, I'm nicknamed as the guy that always asks for the new make. And all the time that I do that, the guys in the background always send me a little undertone note that said, all right, at least you asked for it,
That's awesome. I love your collection there. Was it, you said it was like 3,000 bottles or something you got there behind you?
Behind me is 500, and they're all either Lowlands or Spey. The ones on the side over here, if you can see in the corner, that's the Isla whiskeys. And then I'm looking over here, and then I have in my cabinetry, I have mixes of both bourbons and scotches, but I'm predominantly a Scotch guy.
Okay, got it. Well, it's great to see you.
Good seeing you. How are you, by the way? Everything well?
Yeah, everything's great. Everything's wonderful. I mean, it's and actually it's funny. Eric and I have been talking about this, that one of the struggles that our group is having is how do we manage coming out of COVID? Okay, because there were, when you do a Zoom tasting, there are no logistics. Okay, all Eric and I had to worry about was getting the bottles and then getting together with our friends Michael Bloom and Michael Nolan. Those are usually the four of us who are doing the pouring. We pour them into the little samples and we get them out to people, and then we just send out a Zoom link. Okay, but now people want to do more in-person things, but we also don't want to abandon our people in other parts of the country. Okay, and so we're doing hybrid events, which can be a real pain in the ass, but they're still fun. Okay, but there are definitely many more logistics to deal with as we're coming out of COVID, because people want to do stuff in person, but we want to respect the people who've been supporting us long distance.
Well, Gil,
good.
I do. I support you, and I always see you on Facebook and whatnot, and we appreciate everything that you do for us when you mention anything of Impex.
Here we go. I'm drinking right now. So one thing, my theme for tonight. Yeah,
that's my fave. One of them is pomegranate, man. That stuff is the rock.
Yeah. So I don't know if you heard, but my theme for tonight are the distilleries that I visited during the pandemic.
Okay.
And so that's Mendocino Spirits in California, Dad's Hat in Pennsylvania, M&H, Milk and Honey in Israel, Few obviously here in Evanston, and Balcones in Waco. So those are the five. I'm drinking things from those 5 distilleries right now. And when I went to pick out my M&H, I'm like, well, this pomegranate is so damn good.
It is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
Laugh all you want. Well, as long as you mention it, let me see if I can find. Yep, I can. I'll show you a cute little story.
Okay. And then I'm going to go to Eric Leader because I want to know what Eric's drinking tonight. But first, tell us what you got there. Then we'll talk to Eric.
When we were in Edinburgh, or Glasgow. I think it's Edinburgh on High Street. 4 years ago, the sales team from Impex, and we were presented all of the products from M&H. And I don't know if you can see this. That is the first sample of the pomegranate that I've ever tasted.
Wow.
And I made sure everybody had a little taste of it. And I grabbed the bottle, put it in my pocket, and walked out the door of the bar. And I said, mine.
Nice.
And the guys at M&H freaked. They didn't understand that I loved it that much. So, you know, it's a great whiskey. And I'm waiting to get personally, you know, they did it first in a bourbon barrel and then put it into the red pomegranate barrel. That's how they made it. We're now waiting for the 100% matured in pomegranate barrel to become.
Oh.
So I'm just like fingers clawing at wood, you know, it's like waiting for that baby to pop. But obviously with M&H earning the best single malt of the world for their elements of sherry,
right? The sherry cask.
It's just, how can you go wrong with everything that they've done? And my God, these guys work hard as all get out. And you met them, you saw the stills. It's hotter than heck over there, but yet the only place they cool off is inside that one little room.
So Brian, one thing you might not know is that when I was in Israel, when I went to M&H, it also happened to be at the same time that Whiskey Live Tel Aviv was going on, the big show. And I went there and I had not yet met Tomer and Tal.
Yeah.
And they were there holding court. They were essentially the kings of the event.
Yeah.
And there was a guy there from Loch Lomond who was pouring, you know, like a 12 and a 15, you know, and an 18. And then Tal called me over and he said, here, try this. And I said, what is it? And he said, it's the Loch Lomond that the guy has under the table. Okay. And it was a Loch Lomond, I think it was a 30 or 35, you know, and here, I don't even know Tal, we had just met the first time. And, you know, and he's sharing with me the Loch Lomond, you know, the special Loch Lomond, and they're just great people. I mean, they're just
Phenomenal
friendly, fun people.
Phenomenal. Listen,
Yeah, they were wonderful.
I don't want to monopolize. I do want to say hello, Mr. Duffy. How are you, sir? It was good seeing you. I always love getting the things that I see that you put out on Facebook, etc. Lou, it's good seeing you. Hope everything is well out in the East Coast. And I'm going to check off because I've been in Reno all week working the market up in Reno, and I'm a little bit verschimmeled and tired.
Verschimmeled. Wait, Verschimmeled. Isn't Verschimmeled
Mixed
one of
up.
those towns near where Lou lives? Lou, isn't there a town Verschimmel near you?
Where
It's,
little
East-
hobbits live.
East
Hobbits
Verschimmel.
live in Schmimmels.
East Verschimmel, right? Yeah.
East
But
Verschimmel,
anyway,
yeah.
Yeah,
thank you,
Pennsylvania's
guys.
got all those fun little towns, you know. Verschimmel sounds like the name of one of those towns in Pennsylvania. That's great. Thank you, Brian,
guys.
for joining us. Appreciate it.
And thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me. And I wish you all multiple years of success of this. And
Thank you very much.
please, anytime you need me, let me know.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
All the best.
Cheers.
Hi, Brian.
Thank you very much.
Bye now.
Eric Leader. Eric, what are you drinking tonight, buddy?
I kept it simple. So first of all, I got our Star Wars pick because honestly, hands down, that was an awesome pick on our end. And so happy, and we did that. And that was our first bottle pick with our group. And then to go along with that, and to honor Marty here, in my Glencairn, and to go along with his Crystal Thor's Hammer, I'm drinking Catoctin Creek, who we also interviewed, their Ragnarok,
Nice.
Very
which,
nice.
if nobody's tasted it, it is phenomenal.
Oh my God, he's getting the
Um,
hammer out. Are you getting the hammer out?
Getting the hammer out.
Oh, Marty, you got to show the hammer to everybody here.
Laying
You
the
got to
hammer
show this.
down, Lou.
Everybody,
Yeah,
you
buddy.
got to see this. You got to see this.
After years of talking about it, we finally see it.
Yes. When
So if anybody hasn't,
Oh my God, is it in a box inside a box?
Yes.
There it is.
All right,
Wow.
Marty, talk so we can see you.
Look at the Caesar hammer. Am I on? Am I little Mikey on? Yeah.
All right, so tell us about that hammer. What does it say on it, Marty?
It says
Nice.
Marty's Crystal Hammer of Justice, which
Yeah, that's the only part I'm not sure about, the justice part. I don't know.
You know, Marty, if you
My
look
kind
at
of
it
justice,
really
Lou.
close, if you look at it really close, you can end up bonking yourself in the head.
that has heft. It might only be good for one good hit, but
That'll be a hell of a hit.
yeah, it'd be a good hit.
Wow, that is how heavy is that thing?
I didn't weigh it, but I would
That's
guess
amazing.
10 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, this is solid crystal right here. That's a giant crystal block. I just thought it was funny they went to all this trouble. You have to create a mold and everything to do all
That's
this.
Grothbar's hammer.
Like Grothbar's saying.
You shall be avenged. You shall be avenged. So Eric, you know, you and Bloom, as I said, I think are the people whose lives have been changed the most by all this with respect to how busy you've been and all that stuff. Kate, aren't you about to go on the road again to another bottle and barrel night?
DC, that's coming up on the 27th.
Okay.
But I'm not going to be going this time. I have a conflict, so but
Bloom
yes,
going?
otherwise.
Is Bloom going to that one? Because he's
Yes, Bloom is going.
got it. Do you guys sleep on those trips?
Not the day of the show, because
So,
we usually get there like 9 a.m. to start setting up, and usually done around 11:30.
So
And
I
then
want
we
you
go
to
out
tell.
for dinner afterwards.
Okay, so there's something I want you to tell people. So there's somebody who has been on here periodically, and he's friends with a number of us. Bino Gopal. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Bino?
Mhm,
Okay.
Bino.
I know that Naomi knows him, and a few other people know Bino. Kate, you told me this amazing story about when you guys were in Los Angeles, about going to like this private club that Bino has, and this cart of whiskey
Yeah,
that he brought out.
A whiskey cart? I like
Yeah,
this.
the Jackalope bar on the top of. Shoot, Michael, what's the restaurant?
The Airy? The Airy he calls
$7,000.
it?
It's
$7,000.
The place
Thank
is $7,000 in downtown LA. And yeah, the Jackalope Lounge, and you need to be a member. And Benno could be found out there on the veranda with smoking a cigar and with a friend. And he'll just wave you over and say, "Come join." And then he said, "Bring all my whiskey." And you can only have whiskey that they've sold there, like the independent bottles that they have there. So it's mostly American. And it was like 21 different whiskeys brought out just for us, Eric, Dave, and I to share.
Wow.
But he is a extraordinarily generous man with a huge personality that also introduced us to some damn good Indian food in Los Angeles.
Oh my God, that sounds wonderful. That sounds great. So I remember I saw some pictures from that night, and I saw the whiskey cart, but I couldn't see what was on it. But it looked incredible.
Yeah, and so just outside the Jackalope Lounge is this. The whole hallway is filled with the bottles that people have reserved, have purchased, and they all have little hang tags on it for who it belongs to. So you can kind of also walk up and down there and see who's got stuff. So I saw a bottle that Corey had put on
nice.
hold, and I said, "Look what bottle I just took out."
What was Corey's bottle? Was it a special Paul John? Was it Matuna or something?
I think it was a Paul John.
Okay.
I don't remember now which one it was, but yeah.
Got
So,
it.
yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
Super fun.
That's
And
awesome.
I traveled with Benno in Scotland, and he exercises the credit card when he's there. I mean, and he ships, not tens, but hundreds of bottles back. So it's-
Well, Michael, you actually jumped the gun here because you were the next person I was going to recognize here, because most of you who have received bottles, have received shipments of olive oil in the mail, those bottles, those little sample bottles, have been poured by Eric and me and Michael Bloom and Michael Nolan. That is our core crew. We've also had a few other people help us on occasion, but Michael, I want to thank you, and everybody here who's ever received any of those little bottles should also be thanking you. And I also want to know, what are you drinking tonight?
Well, first off, it's a pleasure to do that, and just because it's such a great group and we have such a great time getting together, learning about different distilleries. So my theme tonight is independent bottlers. And I started out with a bottle from some friends of mine, who I'll always trumpet and talk about. It's Single Cask Nation. This bottle is, hang on, let me turn off the light. This is an Ardmore 23. That was only released, it was, yeah. My wife says it was because we killed it here tonight. This is released in the UK. I brought it over. And then my second one was sticking with the theme, but this is from A&G. They are an independent bottler out of Italy. This is a Glenbergie. So
You love your Glenbergies. You
I
love
do,
your
and
Glenbergies.
It's just a super unique bottling of it, and we really enjoyed it. There's not a whole lot left of that.
Well, we welcome your efforts to kill bottles with us. We absolutely welcome your efforts, and thank you for your pouring skills.
Hey, I'm gonna, you brought up Michael doing so much work to ship, and I'm gonna take this as an opportunity to give a commercial.
Okay.
Ari and I are on the board of directors for the Illinois Craft Distillers Association, and leading a charge to get direct consumer shipping legalized. And just so happens that if you check the chat, I'm going to drop a little link there that I would encourage you to follow, put in your zip code, and that will, if you're in the state of Illinois, it will send a note to your state representative telling them to get the distributors out of the way and allow us to ship direct to consumers. And if you're not within the state of Illinois, it will, I think, auto generate you to the USPS campaign for the Postal Service being able to ship. But it'll get you in the system, and you'll be, you'll get information on things as they evolve within a given state. So would
So you
strong.
don't have to ship olive oil anymore? Is that what you're saying?
Well, if we're successful, you will not have to ship olive oil anymore. But
we're not licensed, so we're a little different.
well, I guess what I would say is you can just order it from me. That would be.
Got it. Understood.
Yeah, so there's a lot of complexities into it, but the simplest form is you can get on the internet and have it shipped to you from me without any interference.
Well, at least we're not in a state.
How does
I'm
it get
sorry.
around the 3-tiered system then?
Well,
Or is it
that's why
part
there's
of-
some serious opposition to it, because the middle part of the tier thinks that they need to have their hands in every part of the transaction anyone's ever made.
It's because they are absolutely required for safety and little baby ducks. I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah.
Well, Lou, I mean, you're in a worse situation in Pennsylvania.
Oh my God!
you know?
Don't even get me started.
Let me be careful, because we are allowed to ship directly in Pennsylvania.
Within
That's true.
Pennsylvania.
That's true.
Within Pennsylvania, and we do. We have our store attached to our website, and it does a very robust business, including people who are too lazy to go to the local state store will order it from us very often, and we are able to carry. We're able to carry some of our expressions that are not available in the state stores. And I know Lou is a big fan of the PLCB, but
I love them.
I know, but we, as a supplier to them, they're one of our few people who actually pay their bills on time. So we like them very much for at least that perspective. And they've been really good to us. So we can't complain too much. We're the second or third, probably the third or fourth largest selling rye whiskey in Pennsylvania, which is a big deal because Pennsylvania individually is probably the largest purchaser of spirits in North America. So.
Wow. So no, that's a good point. It's been good for your business. So that needs to be acknowledged. So that's a very good point.
I will bow out after that.
No, but and also you did ship. Remember, since you couldn't ship that stuff to me in Illinois, my solution was for you to ship it to my mother in the in the Philadelphia burbs.
Yeah.
Honest to God, if your mother's in the Philadelphia burbs, Herman should have just driven the shit over to her. Throw in the back, damn it.
I would have been happy to do that. Would have been happy to do it.
Thank you, Herman. Maybe next time. I think it was 6 bottles. Maybe it might have been 8 bottles. I don't remember. But
I
it
mean,
was a good amount.
Most of you guys know who, most of you are in Illinois, know that, the Wirtz family has been around a long time and their tentacles go very deep into the state. And they're the ones who are fighting this.
Of course.
Them, Southern, they don't want to be put on the back burner. Even
Them
if it's
against
little
Nick and
family.
Ari.
On who?
Against Wirtz, Southern against Nick and Ari is about what it's
Yeah.
boiling down to. It's
I'll take
I
those
often
odds.
make this analogy. It's like the Empire versus the Resistance, and eventually we're gonna get a little jet plane in there and blow some shit up. But right
I'm
now,
guessing Ari is Luke and you're supposed to be Han Solo.
I'm Leia. Just let me.
All right. You need little buns. You need
Come on,
buns.
R2D2. Come on.
The hair did look familiar.
Here we go.
Okay, Paul Barrett. Paul, please unmute. Paul, you have been one of our
Trouble
most
now.
loyal supporters throughout this entire process. So you have not only have been a regular participant, you have also been very active in promoting our group and in also purchasing the Star Wars. Paul, what are you drinking tonight?
So my theme for tonight is let's help Paul open a bunch of bottles that he has laying around and still hasn't opened.
I
So you'll
love
see
it.
a little poll in the chat. I think so far we've been through opening what? A one
Oh, that Bowmore
there.
19 is probably
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. And then the Buna Abin, and the first one was the Lockley, the first release of Lockley that I got at auction. So that's fun.
Awesome.
Well,
Now,
Paul-
didn't you start your own group?
So I am trying to get more active suburban folk out and doing whiskey things. I hope to do something this year with that, but it's been kind of a whirlwind with a lot of other events and a lot of other activities. So hopefully this summer I can start pounding the ground and get some things going on there. Other than that, like we did an Amaro tasting of kind of one of the first Amaro and food pairings back in March.
Yeah,
was
I
a lot of
enjoyed that.
fun
I
with
was there. I
Mordecai.
enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
learned a lot of that, actually. Thank you.
So I'm trying to learn everything about all spirits, but whiskey is still home, and hopefully Rum Fest will be fun as well.
Wonderful. No, that's
And
great.
then when
Well,
I get home, I'm just going to add a whiskey at the end.
wonderful. Do you have any particular questions for any of our special guests here tonight? Or any of the
I think-
professionals who are here?
Most of the guests, I have taken many liberties at asking multiple questions.
Oh, all right.
So I defer my time.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Here's
Um,
a question for everybody. Instead of opening up a new bottle, how many little partials do you still have sitting around that are slowly dying on your shelves?
I
Kill
have too many.
those soldiers
Too many.
first before you start firing.
That's what
up.
Marty's doing. Marty's killing that Ven.
That's right.
I
Little
brought
tiny
about
bottles.
100. I brought about 100 of those little soldiers downstate with me the other day and finished them off.
Yeah.
They don't go bad if you store them properly.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
And especially most of them are over half full. There's very little oxygen inside of them, and they all have polycaps. So
Well, I actually
many of those are better off than my low level actual 700 to 750
Full
bottles.
bottles.
Those are what I'm worried about.
Jeffrey, I have to disagree with you, little fella. If you
Little
have a
fella?
bottle, yeah, little fella.
I'm taller than you.
You are
That's a
not.
Martyism.
I've seen you in person. You're like right up to here.
He
Especially
looks
when
taller
I'm
on
wearing my
Zoom.
Elton John platform shoes. You're
Okay, so
very tall.
talk to us, Marty. You're saying that he's wrong about the
Yeah.
storing the bottles there. Tell
I mean,
us about
it's been pretty well researched now. If you have a good chunk of oxygen, especially if it's about half full, you have way too much oxygen. Now, what you can do is start putting
Argon.
putting it in smaller bottles. We can do that, eliminate the oxygen. But the other thing too, where you store it, even that, I mean, unless you have some kind of really cool chamber, the thing
Well,
is, no
very
matter
cool
where you store it,
skulls,
at some
lots of
point or another,
candlelights.
heat, light.
Okay, but Jeff disagrees with you.
And actually, I do have to comment too. I have a cabinet in the basement that's kind of like a cellar, and I call it my Marty area because no light gets in and it's kind of cold.
Really?
Wow.
Why don't you just shine a lamp off that dome of yours? Then there'd
Oh,
be plenty of
dude.
light.
Here we go.
Sure.
Here we go.
Not
Oh yeah, good times.
this right here. This right here.
Don't make him break out the hammer.
Yeah,
I
the
thought
hammer.
you-
Well, the
yeah.
hammer I reserved for you have to be another
That's
immortal like me. No, I'm telling you. I mean, yeah, if it's on the basement, but I'm telling you, this has been proven time and time again. And one of the things the guys always said, years ago, I used to call I call up some of the distillers I knew in Scotland at the Diageo distilleries and to say, hey, people are asking how long can they keep a bottle, if they've already opened it, how long does it stay good? And they why are they keeping it? Fucking drink it. What are you trying to do? Put us out of business?
Falking.
I can
So-
tell you, I've had them open for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. They're in a dark closet, and they're fine. I hit them up, and they taste just fine to me.
Yeah,
Okay.
but they're gonna. All right, never mind.
All right,
Just
fine.
telling you. They'll
You know what?
taste
If he
fine,
enjoys
especially
it-
if you haven't tasted it in 5 years.
Okay. Well, Marty, I
Go
will
back
tell you
to
that,
tasting notes.
Marty, what I've done with a lot of my smaller sample bottles from this group is I have added them to infinity bottles. Okay, so I now have like at least 3 infinity bottles, and I keep adding from the little samples. So slowly and surely I'm getting through all my little samples here. But that is definitely something that I'm doing. I want to go to Michael Applebaum. Mr. Applebaum, you are in your basement room with your whiskey there, right?
Yeah, my theme, it was nothing special other than I found this to be my picks simply being early finds and favorites, because we go back, probably most of these are probably inspired from the first year. And actually I'm going to give credit to Lou on this first one. I remember our first conversation, we weren't doing samples. So I think a lot of people were still kind of saying, what do we pick? And I think several of us started going to the store saying, hey, that sounds good. Let's go pick one. So you raved about the Old Prochero rye, which I think is divine since that day.
Brett
So I kicked it up.
Pontani loves that Old Prochero.
It's fabulous. But then as we went through people, and of course, when we hit Starward, we had that revelation of, hey, we can get samples, right? So we started getting samples, and some of our guys that gave us samples, Dad's hat became an instant favorite. That drop, I think I have in my glass still a little bit of the American Pecan. I'm loving this. And then, kind of double barreling it from our friend Dave Sweet, right?
Yeah, but what's in there? We can't freaking see it.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Town Branch, which actually, if you take a look how dark that is. That's the Town Branch that we love. I think we all loved.
How dark
And then
the
the other one
bottle
was,
is or the whiskey?
Yeah.
What's that?
He asked if it's how dark the bottle is or how dark the whiskey.
Yes.
Yes.
It's the
I didn't
obvious
go back to the
bottle
statement
on
that
the
because of the
shelf.
dark bottle, it stays fresh, right? No. And then the other one was the Balkanus. I forget which one this was. This was in the
Oh, that was their
Hungarian oak.
deconstructed, right? That was their deconstructed Balcones tasting.
Yeah, and this one was right. And this one was the Hungarian oak. But and then we can't forget a newfound favorite, Cedar Ridge, the quintessential.
Oh, love that
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
And then
Absolutely fantastic.
I don't think this was at one of our tastings, but Opadon. And then we were talking about Smoke and Sea, and we thought it was done, and then we mysteriously found it on the shelves.
Okay, so this is a great story. So Ariel Tesher and I
Right.
were at your house for, it was your father Shiva, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we're at Michael's house for his father Shiva, and then of course we happened to find his whiskey closet wandering around the house. Imagine that.
Wandering
we're in
Jews.
there.
What do you expect?
Yeah, I know. Imagine that. And then we're in there, and all of a sudden we see Smoke and See, and it looks like a newer version. And you told us, you said, "Oh yeah, I just got that at Binny's." And Ariel and I were like, "What?" And so we immediately called all the local Binny's. Okay, we were up on the North Shore, and we hit 3 local Binny's, and I think we bought like 8 bottles. Okay, of that night. So thank you, because we thought it was a limited edition, and they came out with new versions, but there had been several years where they weren't producing it, and Jeff Walsh hadn't told us about that.
Yeah, I remember following up that you got Jeff on social media, and he kind of laid out what the delay, what the pause was.
Right.
But I mean, I like our story better. Just the find of something we thought was extinct.
Well, it was funny because when I called one of the Binny's, I think it was the Highland Park Binny's, and they were like going to be open for like another half an hour. And I asked the guy, I said, "Do me a favor, take all of your Smoke and See and just take them off the shelf right now." And he said, "We don't really do that." And I'm like, "Dude, we're about to buy your bottles. Okay, take them off the shelf for us." And he did.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, these are like some of the early favorites that kind of I guess opened up a lot of people's eyes and palates and brought, tightened our group.
Yeah, and I have to thank again Brett Pontani for a lot of that, because as many of you know, I've mentioned many times the homeless shelter, Lincoln Park Community Services, that I've supported over the years, and they have a craft whiskey table at their annual Taste of Fall event, and I've been curating that table now for almost 15 years, and Brett has worked with me to help select the craft whiskeys, and that's led directly to many of the whiskeys that this group has sampled, many of which you have right there. So, it's funny how it goes full circle.
Yeah, I should add one of my I'm going to say best in show, which is not a whiskey. It's the Kosher for Passover rum through SCN, but through the Thornton Distillery. So that was like our that was kind of one that's kind of lingering.
Yeah, we all like that, Ari and Andrew. That we're big fans of that. We hope that comes back next year. Hope that comes back next year. So anyway, all right, cool. Thank you, Michael. So I want to go next to Terry Dinterman. Terry, if you could unmute. So Terry was introduced to us by our good friend Evan Kleberg, and Terry ended up acquiring more bottles of Starward than anybody here until Paul Barrett decided that he wanted to buy more at the end. But Terry, thank you for your support and your enthusiasm with our group.
Well, hey, it's been my pleasure, really. I was a pure bourbon drinker when COVID came upon us, and Evan said, "Hey, we're got some guys getting together," and I had sworn I would never be a Scotch drinker, but actually tonight I've moved. I started with Blanton's, which is my favorite. You got to love the horse and all that, but yeah, I think it was the last call. I think we were Blom Brothers, and it might have been Michael Nolan or someone on the call mentioned that Single Cask Nation had just done a release. And so I jumped online and grabbed the, I don't know if you can see that, but it's
is that the North British?
North British, yeah. So, and it was aged in bourbon barrels, but the last 14 months it was moved to sherry casks. And, the color of this thing, it tastes, it has a very similar flavor profile, that plum, that dark fruit flavor that the Starward has. So it was great to find another
I gotta
brand
say,
that had
I love this. Marty Lou, do you see this here? Okay, this is a guy who was a bourbon drinker. A buddy of his, Evan, invited him to this. And look at him now. Now he's ordering online, Single Cask Nation, North British, talking about how it's aged. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, and then to finish the night, I'm going to end up with a little peated Paul John. So yeah, I really do appreciate the exposure to all the different profile of whiskeys out there. It's been fantastic. It's been both educational and just following the chat and all the Yiddish speak for has been just very entertaining as well. So
Yeah, we do throw in a few Jewish jokes every once in a while. I do have to admit that does happen. And also, you came to that Impex tasting we had a few months ago.
yes, awesome. I plan to do some more of those.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny because Eric and I have been going to whiskey tastings for so many years together, and going into COVID in this group, I don't think that we realized how many distilleries we knew about that other people didn't know. And so part of this has been like really fun for us to expose those whiskeys to other people, but at the same time learn about new ones. Like, I didn't know about Thornton before this. I didn't know about Dead Drop and all that stuff. It's fascinating, the stuff that we've learned also going through this stuff. So I'm glad that you've been along with us on the journey. It's been awesome. So thank you very much. I want to go to Deb Samuels. Deb, you around here somewhere still? I think I saw you a minute ago.
Yep, I'm here.
So Deb, you've been a long time supporter of Single Cask Nation and Whiskey Jubilee and a whiskey, enthusiast for years. What are you drinking tonight?
I actually was whoever was saying like time to open a bottle that you haven't opened yet. So I had one of my work colleagues was traveling recently in Europe, and he's like, "Oh, I can pick you something up at duty free." So of course you have to, pick something up. So I had him get me the Old Pulteney 16-year-old Travelers Exclusive.
Nice.
So drinking that right now, and then just all the conversation we've been having about M&H and the awards they've won and all of that. I have one of the Founders bottles, so I was one of the.
Ooh, what is a Founders bottle? What does that mean?
That means we were on Kickstart in, I want to say, almost 10 years ago. I think it was 2013 when we funded Kickstart for the original M&H. And then we waited about 7 or 8 years till we actually got our bottles. But yeah, I have one of the Founders bottles. I have a t-shirt, numbered t-shirt with whatever number I am from one of the M&H Founders. So I think that's what I'm going to finish the night off with.
Wow. Now tell me something. How does that compare to the newer stuff from M&H?
The newer stuff is much better than the Founders.
Okay.
It's just more about having been there in the beginning. So have a friend who is cousins with a relative of one of the founders, and so he lives in Israel and he was promoting it. So got in on that early on Kickstart.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, thank you again for joining us. This is wonderful. And by the way, Debbie goes to like all the in-person tastings. I love that, anything at Warehouse, you're always there. And I always like sitting next to you because we always enjoy, talking about the whiskeys while we're tasting them. And I also so tell me, you also have one of those early Single Cask Nation, or was it Whiskey Jubilee shirts, right? Or jerseys? What is the button down thing?
I was early on. So first of all, Evan's waving. So the reason I ended up in this group is Evan. So thank you, Evan, for introducing me to
He's
this
next.
group.
I'm going to Evan next.
So we'll get,
No, he's
yeah,
leaving.
but
Oh, okay.
so I was early on with Single Cask as well too. So yes, I do have my little numbered shirt and all of that. So ended up with that one early on. So have a fair number. I have mostly their bottles that are the exclusives from the online stuff as opposed to the retail.
Right. Yeah,
list. But I've
easier to
got a
get.
pretty robust collection of older bottles that I'm hoarding and drinking very slowly.
I understand completely. Luckily, for many of us, thank God, our rate of acquisition is greater than our rate of consumption. If there were a match, I'd be in deep trouble. I always have to worry about those rates. Evan Kleberg. Evan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How you doing, Gil?
Fine.
Thank
You've
you.
introduced many people to this group, sir.
I try to tell everybody I know about it because it is just so much fun. It is so enjoyable. Hi, Naomi. Hi, how are you? I miss you.
Evan, what are you drinking tonight?
So, it's Evan's favorites. Of course, the Starward.
Mhm.
Love that. Love that. Really like the Baum Brothers cigar blend that
Oh, yeah.
as one of the alternate pourers. I got
Aren't
to
those
take
guys
that
great?
by-
Aren't the Blom brothers awesome?
They are awesome. They are a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
I had a few of their samples left and finished those off as well. And then of course
Nice.
there's the whiskey for life.
Oh
which is
yeah, yeah.
just
The
one
water of
my
life.
favorites.
Water,
Or water of life.
undisclosed,
Whiskey for life,
undisclosed
water for
island.
life. What's the difference?
By the way, did you all notice that Greg was really careful tonight? He also did not give us a clue. Did not give us a freaking
Nothing.
hint.
Nothing.
Right.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
Driving
we
me
also have to thank Evan here because he is one of the distribution centers for all the little bottles for people on the North Shore.
I call myself the whiskey mule. And that
Yes,
Terry
you are a
Terry
whiskey mule.
nominated me with that name. Yes.
Well,
Yes, we just don't want to know where
Bicycle
you keep
whiskey
the
mule.
bottles.
so so one thing, so
Gotta get 'em where
Marty,
they need to
one
go.
thing that I want to mention to you is that so Evan and I have to figure something out because next weekend, Evan and I are both turning 57. Okay.
Don't
My
remind me.
birthday. I know. I can't believe it. 3 times 19 is killing me.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no, it's
Don't do
worse.
the math.
Some buddies of mine just
do the math.
posted that they are planning our 40th high school reunion for next year. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it can't be 40 years. You're killing me. Anyway,
Trying not to think
the reason
about
I'm bringing this up, and Marty was going to mention this to you. So next Friday night, Evan and I are going to go see a screening of the movie The Crow.
that, which I have never seen.
Oh,
I-
you've
this will
never
be my
seen
first-
it?
I've
What?
never seen it.
Dude, I can
I
quote
know.
that movie. Okay, I
Oh.
probably have memorized that movie. Fire it up, fire it up. Sorry, I'm not going there.
I can't
Anyway,
wait. No, I'm very excited.
all right. So we're gonna go see that movie, but you and I have to determine. We haven't determined yet where we should have a drink before and afterwards.
Right.
Okay.
And
So we
during.
gotta do
What are we
this. So
bringing in for during?
what are we
And
bringing
during.
in? Maybe Delilah, maybe Delilah's. I don't know. We have to figure out tonight. But Marty, tell me something. I have a question for you. If I remember correctly, you mentioned that the people from Longman and Eagle have opened up a new place. They closed. Not Longman and Eagle. I'm sorry. Fountainhead. Fountainhead closed during COVID. And Marty, you mentioned that the people from Fountainhead opened up a new place.
He took off.
He left.
Yeah, he
Marty
Irish
left?
goodbye us. Yep. Just
Marty
one.
left.
Irish
Oh, that's
goodbye. That's a good one.
No, the Fountainhead was great.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Paul's posting it. The Green Post.
Yeah.
What
the
about the
Green Post.
Northman? Don't they own the Northman?
Yes,
I'm
but
not
there's
sure.
less whiskey.
And what
Okay,
about
so
that
the Green
place,
Post.
Gil? What about
The
the
Green-
place you got a
Yeah, also there may be
Yeah.
Birch Road. I have a whole bunch of
Yeah.
whiskeys at the Birch Road
Yeah.
place, but all right, we were going to ask whiskey. We were going to ask him, but he bailed it. Lou, did Marty tell you he was leaving?
He put it in the chat.
He told everyone.
Oh shit!
Well, you have no time to read the chat, Gil. Come on. You're busy.
Oh my god! Yeah,
Sorry. I'm sorry.
it's okay. It's okay. It's all good.
Okay, so now Lou, you are the only one who can interrupt people.
No. I'm going to let Jeff Schwartz. Jeff Schwartz. Jeff can also interrupt people because Jeff knows Lou very well. He also knows Marty really well. He is a whiskey professional who has done many podcasts and stuff like that. So I'm allowing both Jeff and Lou to interrupt people. Is that
I
okay?
just
I'd like to-
indicated
I'd
that
like to
since I'm going
point
to
out how
interrupt you here, I
I've
just
been
indicated I was
judicious
signing
with this
off for the
power.
night, but I'll stay on a little longer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just so you can interrupt somebody?
Yeah, I want to give him the opportunity to interrupt somebody. Okay. All right, very good. Let's go to Elhan Orhan.
Thanks,
Elhan,
Al.
how are you doing, buddy?
Gil and Eric, thank you so much.
Hey, Gil,
Thank
how are
you.
you?
Really
Good
been
to
a
see
pleasure.
everybody.
See you guys.
What a
Hello,
great
Elhan.
night. I'm
So-
really enjoying it.
Elhan is, and for many people who don't know, Elhan is very active, not only in the local Drammers chapter, he and Michael Nolan run that, but also with the Single Malt Whiskey Society. Elhan, I'm sure you're drinking something special tonight.
Well, I have two. I'm still doing some work on the side, so I try to moderate. Two of my favorite distillery. I have an Arbeck 17. I love this.
Nice.
Yeah. This is kind of a, among many things got me into peated whiskeys, and I love Arbeck. I love old Arbecks, just the I sometimes disappointed at some of their new releases, but this is still really cool.
It's
My
the
wife still
classic.
has a bottle of 17. She won't let me have any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I opened it on my wedding night. I bought one.
Yeah.
And then I said, any man who wants to drink this has to marry me.
Oh,
Mhm.
nice.
So you're into polygamy?
Old time Judaism. That's
The
old time
irony
Judaism.
is my husband does not drink scotch.
And then the second one, I have this SMWS bottle, 26-year-old Springbank, What a Song and Dance. I think Michael and I, we tasted this, at my house once. It's a great
26-year-old
one.
Springbank.
Yeah, I'm drinking this because by next week, this time, I'll be flying to Edinburgh to go to Campbelltown to join the Springbank Whiskey School. So I'll be spending quite a bit of time in
Wow.
Springbank. So I kept drinking some Springbank the whole week, trying to get my
Wow.
my
So,
palate back to
so
Springbank.
Lou, one thing you don't know is that the way this whole like social media thing has worked here, Lou, is that through this group, Charlie Prince ended up joining here. Okay. And I got to know Charlie Prince. And then, Michael Nolan also made sure that I got to know Charlie. And then Charlie invited me to some, Drammers events. And then I went to Elhan's house. And then, of course, we've become friends and, and now we're sharing bottles, and going to events together. And it's just amazing that you were there, Lou, at the beginning, because without this technology, I can't even imagine what the last 3 years would have been like for us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And you doing all those podcasts. I mean, you were so busy during that time, with Marty and Liz. I mean, that must have been incredible for you.
That was a hell of a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because otherwise, I mean, we'd just been like kind of curled up, not doing anything. But
yeah,
it was great. Yeah, we
Yeah,
got to
no,
go
it-
You
everywhere.
weren't in the corner rocking and crying and
Well, the other days of the week, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, very nice. Very, very funny. Love that. That's great. All right. Daniel Pikus. Daniel, sir, you've already spoken a little bit about your dead drop experiment. How are you doing tonight, Daniel?
Doing all right. So my major theme was I only picked from distilleries that I've done tastings with you guys from.
Oh, nice.
So I grabbed first of all I grabbed the Star Wars. I got to bring that out. I brought the TX, which I won from that I won from the silent auction at.
Oh, right. Okay, so let me
And
stop you
then
there for a
and then we
second.
had the tasting with them.
Right, so let me stop you there. So Lou, you're gonna love this. Daniel and I compete in kosher barbecue competitions.
I do love this already.
Okay. Daniel's backyard, he has like 8 smokers and grills. I love his
No
backyard.
way. Wow.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. I love Daniel's backyard. All right, it's like I could live there. It's incredible. Anyway, so he and I were competing together on a team at the Dallas Kosher Barbecue Competition in 2021, the fall of 2021. Being in Texas during COVID, it was like there was no pandemic, different world, crazy. But
Yeah.
one thing that Daniel just mentioned is that one of the sponsors of the event for their silent auction was TX Whiskey. And Daniel ended up winning the silent auction for TX, and then we ended up tasting with him later. So Daniel, I gotta tell you, I love that. Oh, one other thing also, is Ari Klofter still on here? Andrew, still here? Is Ari still here? No, not
Andrew,
sure.
you muted.
Okay, Andrew's here. All right.
So you want to know what I'm drinking?
No, we're getting to you. We're gonna get to you. Anyway, so Lou, one of the things that Ari gave us a whole bunch of pecan soaked wood chips. Okay,
Oh.
that Eric and I have used with our smokers.
Nice.
Okay, yeah, so it's great. So
Yeah.
Daniel, did he give you anything like that?
No, he didn't give me any when I went to visit. But that's,
You gotta bug him. You gotta get some of that stuff from him.
and also Ari wasn't there, so.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll have.
But that brings up the fact that the first drink I had tonight was the Dead Drop Bourbon, and then I also pulled out. Originally, I was only going to pull out the M&H Dead Sea, but then you guys brought up the pomegranate cask, and I got to slightly correct the what was said before. There is a little bit of the pure pomegranate cask in this country right now. Happen to have one of those bottles. Because Jews and Booze did a pick of it that came in kind of before everybody else got their hands on it.
Love it. That's awesome. That's great. All right, cool, wonderful. All right, so let's see. I want to go next to, okay, I see somebody here whom I'm not so sure whom I know. Zach F. WIWF. Zach, can you introduce yourself, please? Your name. I don't know if I know you, buddy.
Yeah, first time I was invited by Marty.
Oh, wonderful. And he abandoned us.
He abandoned us before I could
Typical.
be introduced. So if blame him, I guess.
Okay.
But,
So what's your
I'm-
relationship to the world of whiskey?
So I run at Bourbon Reviews official Instagram page, and I also
Oh.
run the Wisconsin Whiskey Festival, which is how I know Marty. I've purchased a vast quantity of glasses from him, of course.
Of course.
And my theme tonight is I'm also in the middle of a move, so it's whatever I could scrounge up that's at the new house. So I've got a Smoke Wagon malted rye, the Keeper's Heart Irish American,
nice
Jack Daniels single barrel, and then a Starlight barrel pick from Otto's up here. in,
Wow, you poor bastard. Such shit you came up with.
Yeah, I it's what I scrounged up.
Yeah, right.
Now, hey, I want to say this much while we've got Zach on the line. I got to attend his inaugural festival last fall, was it? In Milwaukee, and that was a very good first run show. I enjoyed it, and looking forward to future ones with that. I think you did
When is this event usually?
So this year it's going to be October 27th. It's in downtown Milwaukee at the Hilton City Center.
Okay.
And tickets will be on sale in the summer, but I'll talk to Marty beforehand, and I'm always happy to share a discount link if you guys want to come up.
Yeah,
for the
please
show.
do. Well, yeah, we should
Sure
talk
you
about
get
that because we're so
a deal.
close
Yeah.
that we can definitely do a little bit of a road trip up there. And and if Jeff says good things about you, then we're all in. I mean, that's great. That's awesome.
Paul will fire up the fun bus.
There you go.
The fun bus.
Now,
Awesome.
because you guys did smoking, we're smoking meats and stuff. We want a little brisket to come up.
Actually, it's funny. Daniel actually does sell his brisket. Daniel has done that.
Occasionally, usually for fundraisers, but yeah.
But still, and actually, Daniel and I have both won awards at these competitions. I think in 2019, my team won second place in the Cincinnati Kosher Barbecue Competition.
Wow.
Daniel's won many awards over the years at his stuff. So, yeah, we have some chops, so it's
Dumb
good
question.
times.
Yeah, Gil, I was gonna say, if the fun
Jewish-
bus goes up north, we expect brisket sandwiches on that ride.
We can figure this out. I think we
Is
can
it-
work something out.
Do you do anything but brisket? Are there other things?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And at the kosher competitions, there are always chicken thighs, some form
Okay.
of turkey, beef ribs, and also brisket. Those are the standard four meats. But sometimes there are other things as well. Sometimes there's beans and other things. But it's really it's the brisket, chicken thighs, turkey, and beef ribs.
Cool.
Yes, great stuff. All right, wonderful. Well,
hungry.
Zach, welcome.
if-
Thank you for
and
joining
if
us.
anybody has been paying attention to Andrew, we just got a full distillery tour.
I
Yeah, I know. I've seen Andrew walking around, buddy. That's great. But I want to go to Naomi because Naomi has a lot of stuff to say. Naomi always has a lot to say. And Naomi, I would like you to tell us what you are drinking tonight because I'm sure that there's a lot of reason and thought behind it.
So much thought behind it. Wait. Sorry, I'm in my office at work, so I just keep a little Bunnahabhain 18 in my
Nice.
office.
Nice.
But I am doing a tasting this weekend
Right.
after the 6th grade B'nai Mitzvah retreat. So that's
Are the sixth graders participating in the tasting?
no, but some of their parents are coming
yes.
to my house
Okay.
to unwind after that retreat. Well, I just love Bunnahabhain. I love anything from Isla, but I hate peat, which means I love Bunnahabhain.
So you like brine, but you don't like peat smoke.
I don't know if I like brine. I don't know. I don't love brine either. I love the richness. I love the oily richness of an Isla whiskey. And
I
I'll
love
drink
it.
in spite of the peat, which is why I love an Ardbeg or a Lagavulin or a but Bunnahabhain like nails it every time.
Okay, I gotta stop you there. Nolan, as somebody, so Michael Nolan has been to Isla several times. I think Elhan's been to Isla several times. Paul has been to Isla several times. So what do you think about this concept of unpeated Islas and Naomi's obsession with this stuff? Because she loves it. Nolan, what do you think?
I can't speak to her love for it. I mean, I think it's great that she's passionate about it. Actually, I love Bunas that are peated. So, you know, I think it's what the proverbial floats your boat. I mean,
Especially on
Brookletty-
Isla. What about,
Brookletty is
Brookletty?
phenomenal, so.
It took me 20 years to figure out why. I mean, every time what's that? Oh, the Star Word?
No, it's
It's a black card.
Oh. I mean, it took me 20 years of like tasting whiskey. I didn't like hard liquor. I was the designated driver when my first husband was like, hey, let's go visit my professor at Cornell and drink stuff. And he brought Bunnahabhain. And I had already tried Glenmorangie and this and that. And I'm like, meh, you know. And then he poured
it, leave it.
Bunnahabhain. And he was like, this is amazing.
Okay.
What?
So Naomi, one thing that I don't know if you remember this, I have a good connection with Balcones. Okay, and you all remember last summer I ended up repping Balcones at the whiskey event. In order to prep for that event, I rewatched our interview with Jared Himstead. Okay, and in the middle of that interview, at one point, you made this comment, and I will never forget Jared's smile on his face. So you called Balcones the Bunnahabhain of Texas.
Wow.
Okay. Yes, you said that. Okay, and I gotta tell you, and you know, Jared loves Scotch. Okay, he is a Scotch guy. He loves Scotch, and his response was like, "Wow, that's high praise." So I mean, that was awesome. So thank you for that comment. That was great.
I'm so glad I felt positively towards something that wasn't from Bunnahabhain. But yeah, I just remember tasting it and going, oh. So then I got very enthusiastic about, oh, these single malts, they're all very distinctive. And we had a whole drinking tour of Scotland where every region was represented. And then when we split up, I was like, I want the Ardbeg, I want the Lagavulin, I want the Bunnahabhain, I want the Springbank, because I also think Springbank and Arran and Jura, they all kind of
I
fall.
think the key there are the first two words. I want.
What?
The key there are the first two words.
But it was-
I want.
You know, she said, you can have the house. I want the booze.
Right.
No, but it's like I didn't want any of the Scotch that wasn't from the Isla region. So then I went for another decade and a half going, I love stuff from Isla. And then people would say, oh, you must really like the smoke. You must really like the peat. And I'm like, actually, I don't. And then I was like, why do I like this stuff if I don't like smoke or peat? And it took me like another 5 or 6 or 7 years where I realized, oh, it's because stuff from Isla also has other qualities that other regions don't have. Like Glenmorangie and Glenfiddich are actually kind of like watery. And it's like they're
Okay, well, I'm really glad that Dan Crowell is not on here right now
Sorry.
because he would jump on you. I mean,
Let's
wow.
bring it back on track. You asked me a question, right?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. Paul, what are your thoughts about her unpeated Isla observation?
So my thoughts are Isla whiskey is brilliant and some of the best stuff in the world. Some of it's peated, some of it's not. And that's the end of story.
There we go.
Okay.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Elhan, do you have any comments? Elhan, is he still here?
agree. You know, I like Bruichladdich, and for
I
the
like
the
Bruichladdich.
same reason I like Springbank. You know, they do it all three, and they say like, hey, I can do all three styles equally good, and I can offer different flavor profiles, and I think there's something to be said for it. You know, then I like them for it. You know,
Yeah, it's just funny that because Isla obviously is known for the smoke and for the peat, and
But
Naomi.
more
One thing I love
importantly-
about Naomi is that I love how opinionated you are. Okay. And, and about everything, by the way, and that's one of the reasons I love you. But, you're consistent. And Lou, one thing about Naomi is that, she just, one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure that Naomi got to meet Sam Filmus, okay, is, I can't wait to have you, sit down, go to Sam's place. I'm sure at some point you'll go to his house and tell him your opinions of the stuff that he's pouring for you that is so freaking expensive and so freaking rare, because I wish that I could be a fly on the wall.
Oh my God. So we have a board meeting here tonight, and the guy who walked into my office is one of our board members and also a sixth grade parent. I was like, hey, Dariush, I'm going to pour you some of this Buddha Haven 18. He did this, and I'm like,
I have a story about that.
Yes. Paul?
So we have some fans of Brooke Laddie here, right? And one of the things that Mike Miller got at Delilah's were the set of the old and rare cask, right? There was one that was placed in sherry. There was one that was called All In that was purely bourbon the entire way. And there was like the Magnificent Sevens or something like that. So I'm sitting there at the bar and talking Brooke Laddie to someone random, and basically what happens is he orders two of them, one for me, one for him, and then he takes this $60 1 ounce pour of whiskey, which is a 30-year-old Brooke Laddie.
Bangs it.
Oh.
Why?
Like and then he's like, that's how I drink all my whiskey. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Give him Fireball. He won't know the difference.
No,
Oh.
no, a jury in the land would convict you, my son. Not a
Oh.
jury in the
That's
land.
I once brought a bottle of Lechik, I think it was Lechik 18, to synagogue on a Saturday afternoon. There was some teaching session with one of our rabbis, and I brought Lechik 18, and some guy walks in and he says, "Oh, I love whiskey." And I said, "What do you like?" And he says, "Oh, I like single malts." And I'm like, "Oh shit." And then he takes it to the Lechik 18 and he just chugs it right down. And I'm like, "Mother effer." I just wanted to kill him, because it's something that is meant to be savored.
I had a really
It's like
good
taking a
friend-
50-year Glenfiddich and mixing it 50-50 with Fanta.
Right, you've
This
seen
guy
that
would-
meme, right? That cartoon.
But
You know?
this guy would come over to my
want some?
house and just drink whiskey. Whatever I got out, I'm like, oh, this is, I don't know. At that time, Russell's Reserve was probably one of the better things I had. Didn't matter. Boom. And I'm like, he kept doing this with all like great whiskeys. And then one day he came over and it was a hot day and I was drinking Johnny Walker Black and soda. And you know what? He drank that just as fast and didn't care. So always have a bottle of Johnny Walker Black in the house.
Right, why not?
We're both happy.
Absolutely.
So Lou, I gotta
I
tell you a
was gonna
funny
say that's
story.
when you get the Evan Williams out.
Yeah. So Lou, I gotta tell
Hey,
you.
I like Evan Williams.
No, it's
Nothing
great.
wrong with Evan. What?
So does
There's
he.
nothing wrong with it. But
Yeah.
So
And it's in
Lou,
the Crown Royal.
yeah.
Lou, I gotta
There
tell you
you
a quick
go.
funny story. Mendocino Spirits in Ukiah, California, about an hour and a half north of San Francisco. They're the ones who make Low Gap and the Mendocino Spirits, and then the a few different labels that they have. And they have a 5-year gin aged in Limousine oak. Okay. And it is freaking amazing. It's like a $200 bottle of gin. It is ridiculous. And when we visited them, when a friend of mine and I visited them last summer, we went to the distillery and we planned to go out to a steakhouse with them afterwards. Okay, with the owners of the distillery, Tamar and Jack Crispin, Kane, and we get to this steakhouse after we have this wonderful tasting. Okay, at the distillery, we go to the steakhouse and they picked the steakhouse. It was a local place that carries their whiskeys. All right, carries their and not just their whiskeys, but also their gin. And my friend and I were planning to buy dinner for everybody. Okay, because they were so generous with their time to have us at the distillery, and they were sharing so many things with us. And then Jack says, as we're sitting down, he says, you know what? I've had such a great time and you guys are so much fun. I want you to enjoy my gin the way I enjoy it. And we're like, okay, what does that mean? And he says, I'm buying around for the table. And there were like I think there were 6 of us at the table. And he asks the waitress, he says, you know that bottle of gin up on the top shelf there? And she says, yes. And he says, how much for a gin and tonic with a twist of lime? And we all looked at each other. We're like, what the fuck? And she said, I'll find out for you. And she comes back and she says, each one would be $50.
What
And
was
Jack-
the look on her face, though? I'm
Okay.
missing a part of the story.
No. I wasn't looking at her face. I was looking at the face of Jack's wife. Okay, Tamar. Because he was about to commit them to buying $300 worth of gin and tonic. Okay. And he says, I want everybody to have a gin and tonic the way
Oh
I
my
drink it.
God.
Okay. So, it's funny, Jeff, you mentioned, mixing it with orange Fanta. So I got to tell you, it was the best freaking gin and tonic I've ever had in my goddamn life.
Better be
Okay.
$50.
It was ridiculous. Now they do have a 1-year version of that gin. It's called Russell Henry Dark Gin, aged 1 year in Limousine Oak. That's only $45 a bottle, and you can order it from the whiskey shop, okay, in San Francisco. You can also order the $200 bottle, the 5-year one, for like $2, from them as well. But the fact that distiller, the Jack, who's a great guy, that's how he drinks his gin. However, that to me, like we keep hearing the cliche that the distillers don't care how we enjoy it as long as we enjoy it. And that to me is an example of that story.
Yeah.
It really blew me away. So, but no, orange Fanta and Glenfiddich, I don't think I could do that, Jeff. I don't think I could do orange Fanta with Glenfiddich.
I'll say, just to kind
sure
of
I could
cap
do
it
it.
off and bring it back.
Wow.
Drink whiskey however you want to drink it, except
Except
Drink whiskey however you want to drink it, as long as it's not mine.
well, as long as you don't chug it down, that's what you're saying. You don't want to
You
throw
are
down
welcome
something
to
really good.
anything on my shelf, and I've got close to 500. Until the words "and Coke" come out of your mouth. And then you get limited to the stuff that I'm getting ready to give away because I don't care for it.
That's why I say in Pepsi.
Oh, that's great. I love it. That's just wonderful. By the way, is Herman still here? Herman, I just finished all of my 5 samples, and the last one, and the one that I left for the last was your cash strength, one of your cash strengths. And I got to tell you, man, this stuff's amazing. I mean, it is so freaking delicious, and it didn't need any water. It's just great. And I don't know if you heard my Philadelphia accent when I said water right now.
Water.
Water ice. I also want to thank all of you who are still here. We've lost a bunch of people. We've been on for almost 2 hours, and this is just amazing. Lou, I want to ask you if you have any last comments or anything you want to say to the group. Having participated with us and being our first interviewee and celebrating with us here at our 3rd anniversary.
I have to be honest, after tonight, I wish I'd come back more often. Or, okay, to be honest, at all. This is a lot of fun. You guys are fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was going to second that.
Everybody's invited. We post them all in the Facebook group. Everybody's always invited. We would absolutely welcome anybody to keep, to come back, and to keep joining with us. It would be great. And I see we even, have some new people tonight. Herman, it's been a while since we saw you. Any last words for us tonight?
Actually, after all that talk about Scotch, I had to run out and grab a bottle of a single malt. So that's what I'm finishing. I'm finishing tonight with some Talisker Distillers Edition. This delicious.
What year?
I wish that Duffy were still here because Duffy used to rep Talisker.
This is. I don't know. It was a gift. I don't remember.
That's great.
But,
That's awesome.
Quickly take a shot of it and tell us what year.
Yeah.
yeah.
Zach, you posted a question. What is whiskey FF50? What is that? What is the 50th? What is this you're posting here? Zach, what's your question?
Anyone's going to the Discus 50th anniversary party, the Distilled Spirits Council of the United States. It's expensive, so
Where is it and when?
it's in Chicago, I think in a couple weeks here.
In June.
In June.
I'll be in Scotland.
I'm contemplating going.
I think it's a non-member price is just under $1,500. So
So Zach, I just sent you an email. So send me information about it, will you, Zach? Oh,
yeah, we'll
that's
do.
a lot of money. I don't think my wife would let me spend that much money to go to whiskey then. Yeah. I don't think
If you didn't go to Isla with me, Gil.
Yeah, that wouldn't work. I couldn't justify that. Paul invited me to join him on the Water of Life trip with Greg Schwartz, Greg Schwartz, to Isla, and I just couldn't justify it this year. Paul, here's one of the reasons I couldn't justify it. Last night, as condo president, I voted to approve a 2.5 million special assessment for my association.
How many condo members?
There are about 50 of us, so you can do the math.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations.
Thanks, buddy. Condo life. Yeah, living the fucking
Here's
dream.
to only being there for 1 year.
Very smart. Eric, do you have any last words before we ask other people for any other last words?
No, I mean, this has been great helping running this group. We've met a lot of great people, and I look forward to the next 3 years.
Great. Andy, how about you?
You're muted.
You're muted. You're muted, Andy. Andy, you're muted.
The common issue around here. So thank you so much. This was really fun. So
Yeah.
we'll be at the Discus event, and I look forward to checking out the Wisconsin Whiskey Fest. That sounds awesome. So
Sounds like a good possibility for a reunion or something there. But the funny thing is, like, Zach, I don't know, one thing about this group, and it's funny what Terry mentioned before about the whole Jewish thing is, like, as soon as anybody mentions like an October event, I have to check the Hebrew calendar, the Jewish calendars. We have a site called hebcal.com, believe it or not, which has all the Jewish holidays on it. Because anything in like September or October, my first thing is like, oh fuck, what holiday is that going to screw up? That's always the issue with us. And let's see. So Jeff, and any final words for us from your perspective on this group and whiskey tastings in general?
This is a lot of fun, and my recommendation is try anything, try everything, drink curious.
Oh, I love it. That's beautiful. Pikus, any last words?
So I have a question for you, Gil. What's on tap for the next 3 years?
It's funny for this group. It's tough to say. And it all has to do with the fact that we have people out of town, out of Chicago, whom we need to really support because they supported us during this whole session. Okay. They were members of our community. So you're probably going to see Eric and me doing more hybrid events. I mean, Eric, that's what I think. That's what I see coming, right? More hybrid events because we people out of town who really relied upon us and participated with us. And they're our friends. So you're probably going to see more hybrid events is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And we got one coming up soon. We got to get the word out.
So you're going to be seeing some emails from us pretty soon about a few events coming up. Naomi, any last words from you?
I love you guys. This is great. I'm sorry I haven't been around too much. New job, settling in.
Love you too. Miss you.
I miss you
Applebaum.
guys. Come visit. We have a really comfortable guest room in Sausalito.
I'll remember that.
Man.
And you're not far from Mendocino Spirits.
Mendocino.
An hour and a half from Mendocino Spirits. You've got to get up there to see Jack and Tamar. You will love them. They are wonderful people.
But I might insult their whiskey.
Okay. Dial it back.
Focus on the gin. Focus on the gin.
Applebaum. Any
Wait,
last
they have
words?
gin? Whoa, they have gin there?
Yeah.
You missed this story?
I'm not even
I
going
am
there.
like working on the 6th grade Billy Mitzvah retreat and trying to find Torah readers for next week.
Oh my God. Applebaum. Any last words from you?
Well, first, Gil, I want to say thanks for bringing us together on this 420 night and foregoing the finale of Picard.
No, I'm watching that tonight later. Okay. Later tonight, I'm watching the finale of Picard.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But
I'm a
but
little
for
bit
real,
buzzed right now, but I'll be watching it.
Looking forward to the weather warming up and hopefully finding some backyard barbecues and whiskey tastings amongst our group. It's wonderful to see everybody, but even better in person if we can.
Yeah, thank you. Debbie, any last words from you?
Just, this saved us during the pandemic and looking forward to how we evolve it going forward.
You know, I appreciate that. One of the guys who left already tonight, who was here earlier, was Arthur Elstein. Arthur is a senior. He's like 88 years old. He lives a block away from here, and he's been a regular participant. And I wish that he were still with us right now during this session, because many times during COVID, Arthur and I would meet at the corner down the street. He and I live a block away from each other. And those meetings would be me giving him samples of whiskey. Okay. And then just chatting. And his wife passed away like about 5 years ago. And Arthur frequently said to me that he said many times that what Eric and I have done with this group helped him survive COVID. You know, and thank God for the technology. Thank God Eric knows how to work databases and emails and shit like that, because I just couldn't do it myself. But it really, you know, so thank you, Debbie, for saying that, because it also helped me survive. I would have driven my wife freaking crazy if I hadn't been. I mean, I drive her crazy enough already. I mean, you know, I have our 34th anniversary coming up. Believe me, I would have driven her crazy enough during COVID. It would have been much worse without this group. And so this group did as much for me as we did for everybody else here. It's just given back, you know, in an amazing way. Elhan, any comments from you at the end before we close out here?
No, thank you, Gil. Happy anniversary. It's a great honor to be part of this team. You know, that's what I think whiskey is about, meeting all these great people, sharing stories, and, you know, having a good jam next to it. So, no, great night. You know, good to see you all. Looking for the next one.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Nolan.
I think I just want to sincerely say thank you to Gil and Eric. You know, when he first suggested the idea and sent emails, said you're out of your mind, but let's give it a shot. And I mean, it's been a joy to meet a lot of new people in the whiskey community, and it's been a lot of fun. And I look forward to the next 3 years.
Wonderful. Thank you. Terry, what about you?
Yeah. Hey, one suggestion I'd have is that first year we did a lot of the local distilleries, but that was before we had the samples being provided. So J. Henry, Koval, Journeyman, Whiskey Acres even, I think, was in that. It would be great to circle back through some of the, and I know we've got folks across the country, but it'd be nice to do some of those locals again with,
I agree.
with an actual variety.
Well,
of
that's why we
expression.
did Blom. That's actually why we did Blom.
Yeah,
recently.
right. Yeah, Blom. Yeah.
So you're right. We're definitely going to be going back to those, and I appreciate that. And actually, Herman just sent me an email, said that he wants to do something else with us, so that'd be great. So I want to share one last story with everybody, okay, because of how meaningful this all is. So I want to show you this bottle here, Heaven Hill, okay, bottled in bond, okay, and this bottle is rather meaningful for me, okay, and I want to tell you why. There was a guy at Binny's Lakeview. His name was Cal, and Cal was a great guy. He got to know everybody there who bought whiskey. And last time I saw Cal, I stopped by in there at Binny's Lakeview, and he said, "Oh, I got something good for you." He said, "I got something good for you in the back here." Okay, and he comes out with his Heaven Hill bottle and bond. So this is, you know, March 2020, right as COVID is starting to hit. Okay, so and actually, I'm sorry, no, this is February 2020, right before COVID. All right, February 2020, I buy this. March 2020, right before the lockdown. Okay, I go to Binny's Lakeview to stock up. Okay, because at that point, we didn't know if the liquor stores would be considered to be essential. Okay, we didn't know if they would stay open yet. So I
We're in
went to Binny's.
Pennsylvania.
Well, in Illinois, I was worried. I was really worried. So I went to Binny's and I decided I was just going to buy a whole bunch of bottles of High West, which are not that expensive, but are good. Okay. So I went there and I bought 6, but I was buying 6 bottles of High West. And I went to the manager of the store, Ross, who's a great guy. And I told him, I said, by the way, I want to let you know that Cal told me about this great bottle of Heaven Hill that I love. And all of a sudden, Ross starts to get tears in his eyes. And he said, Cal's gone. And I said, what do you mean Cal's gone? And one of the other managers is looking at him and walks away. Turns out Cal had a heart attack. Okay. And died right before COVID hit. And I didn't know. Okay. And I was just completely shocked. All the emotions of COVID hitting, all the emotions of the fact that we were about to shut down and not knowing what was coming next. And I went out to my car and I just started bawling like a freaking baby. Okay. I mean, I hadn't cried. I don't even remember the last time I cried like that, like all the stuff hitting at once. And tonight I'm finishing that bottle. Okay. And I'm not going to get rid of this empty bottle. Okay. When I keep this, I'm going to keep this empty bottle because it'll remind me always of the beginning of COVID. It'll remind me of Cal. It'll remind me of how Binny's has helped. And it'll remind me of, even though we haven't done Heaven Hill with this group, it's the same thing. It's all about the whiskey community. Okay. And how we've all supported each other and helped each other. So I just want to thank everybody and really want to thank Eric. This has been a wonderful night, a wonderful 3 years. We survived it together. And I just want to say, everybody, cheers.
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 Thank you, guys.
Thank you all very much.
Joel, may I have one moment?
Absolutely, Paul, because you
All
are
right.
the man.
So, on top of that, I do just want to say that the one thing that I've learned throughout my whiskey journey, both before COVID and after COVID, is that whiskey and the story of whiskey, and thank you, Greg Schwartz, for teaching me as well, right? Thank you, Jim McEwen, for teaching me. Thank you, Monique and everyone else, right? But the story of whiskey is just as much about the people as it is what's in the bottle. And it has been an honor and pleasure to share some time with you guys over the past few years. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And
Thank
I
you.
got to tell you, I just fucked up because I didn't realize that I missed one person who's on here. I can't believe I missed one person. And the reason why I missed him is because his video isn't on. Brian freaking Nagorski.
Brian freaking Nagorski, unmute yourself and turn your camera on.
Brian, are you there?
Brian.
Ah, shit, you gotta be kidding
Snoozing,
me.
snoozing.
I just invoked Rafi's bar mitzvah today in a meeting.
All right, Brian is like a brother to me. He's not here. It's okay. He's here. He's not here. I can't believe that he didn't join in with this stuff at this point, but it's all good. Everybody, thank you all very much. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you, Gil.
Thank you.
for the
Bye.
invite.
And we'll
Thank
see
you.
you guys soon.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.